The sterile silence of the surgical observation deck was shattered as Chief Surgeon Dr. Preston slammed his clipboard against the glass, his fingers digging painfully into the shoulder of 7-year-old Asher, a boy of dark complexion. I don't care who your mother is. You do not tell a world-class surgeon how to calibrate a laser. Preston's voice was a jagged edge of professional arrogance. Asher, a child prodigy whose mind processed biomechanics like a supercomputer, didn't flinch. He looked at the surgeon with chilling, calm precision. Dr. Preston, you didn't just ignore a warning. You just ignored the laws of physics. You have exactly 30 seconds before the thermal bloom ruptures at aorta. I'm not here as a guest. I'm the only one in this building who knows how to stop the robot from finishing the kill you started. The frantic wail of the patient's heart monitor signaled the end of Preston's career. The sunrise over the St. Jude's advanced surgical wing glinted off the midnight blue finish of the Tesla Model S Plaid as it glided silently into the executive bay. Asher, a 7-year-old with an intellect that far outpaced his small frame, stepped out clutching a customized obsidian tablet. He was a silent savant, a boy who could see the invisible threads of data that held modern medicine together. He was there with his mother, Serafina, the Foundation's primary benefactor, to witness the first live run of the RX-9 robotic laser. But to Dr. Preston, the hospital's lead surgeon who wore his ego like a suit of armor, Asher was merely a mascot who had no business in a place of science. The RX-9 is perfection because I helped design the interface, Preston declared to the gathered press, his voice dripping with condescension. Human error is being replaced by my vision. Dr. Preston, the RX-9 is experiencing a pulse-width modulation error, Asher stated, his voice a steady, disciplined baritone for a child. The humidity in or 4 is too high. The beam will refract by 0.4 millimeters on the 4th cut. Preston laughed, a dry, mocking sound. I don't need a child who still watches cartoons to tell me about refraction. In this, or my word is a law. Now, sit down before I have security escort you out for interfering with a medical miracle. Asher moved to show the telemetry data on his tablet, but Preston wanted a display of absolute authority. The surgeon reached out and forcefully gripped Asher's forearm, twisting as he tried to snatch the tablet away. The physical violation was shocking. Preston pinned Asher against the cold, stainless steel equipment trolley, his hand pressing firmly against the boy's chest to keep him in place. I said, "Stay in your place." Preston hissed, his face contorted in a sneer. You think because your mother writes checks that you're a doctor? You're a distraction. You're a guest. And right now you're in my way. Asher suffered the physical contact with a stoic, terrifying dignity. He felt the sharp edge of the metal trolley against his back. Dr. Preston, you are currently committing a physical assault and a violation of hospital ethics. I suggest you remove your hand before the patient pays the price for your pride. Preston didn't listen. He ratcheted the pressure on Asher's shoulder, shoving him toward the back of the observation deck. The patient pays me for brilliance. You have nothing to offer but noise. He forcefully shoved Asher into a chair, while his interns looked on in stunned, fearful silence. The tension in the observation gallery was suffocating as the surgery began. The head nurse, Marcus, stared at the telemetry screen, his face turning a ghostly shade of white as the laser made its 3rd incision. Doctor, wait. The focal heat is rising, Marcus whispered, his voice trembling. Not now, Marcus. I'm making history. Preston lied, his arrogance forcing him to double down as he pushed the robotic controls faster. A young intern, Leo, the low-status witness in the room, pointed to the secondary monitor. Sir, the tissue isn't cauterizing. It's charring. The refraction Asher mentioned, it's happening. Preston turned on the intern, pointing his finger aggressively. It's a sensor glitch. Stay on the suction. Preston's refusal to listen to anyone, high or low status, created a pressure cooker of impending death. Asher, standing at the back of the gallery, pulled up the hospital's mainframe on his tablet. Dr. Preston, the thermal bloom is now at critical mass. At the 40 kilohertz mark, you will rupture the posterior wall of the aorta. Preston just mocked him through the intercom. You're a kid with a toy. I am the king of this theater. The suspense reached a fever pitch as the 4th incision began. Suddenly, the robotic arm didn't just cut. It bucked, A terrifying, high-pitched whine filled the aura as red light flooded the surgical field. Aortic rupture, the nurse screamed. We have a massive bleed. The laser has cut through. The system is locking us out. The flow shifted from a controlled surgery to a total medical catastrophe. Preston panicked, his hands shaking so violently he couldn't hit the emergency release. The robot, trapped in a safety loop caused by the very error Asher predicted, refused to release the patient's heart. Asher didn't look at the blood. He looked at the code. He turned to the observation terminal, his fingers moving like lightning. Asher, what are you doing? Serafina gasped. The safety lock is triggered by a hardware-firmware conflict, Asher said, his voice a razor-sharp blade of authority. I'm executing a manual bypass through the central server. Just before the shocking reveal, we want to take a quick moment to thank you for your support, love, and kindness. We wouldn't have come this far without you. Subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue to bring you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. Asher slammed his tablet into the observation deck's data port. He didn't use permission. He used the power of his mind. Dr. Preston, Asher's voice boomed over the intercom, echoing in the panicked or below. I told you the math doesn't care about your reputation. I've just overridden your level 5 security. I am now in control of the RX-9. He turned his gaze to the monitors as the robotic arm began to move with a grace Preston could never achieve. Gentlemen, Asher said quietly, I am the one navigating this bypass now. Get Mr. Preston away from the console. He is no longer a surgeon in this building. The silence in the operating theater was so thick it felt heavy. Dr. Preston stood frozen, his hands hovering over the robotic controls he no longer commanded. He watched the massive monitors on the wall as the RX-9 laser, previously a weapon of destruction in his hands, began to move with a fluid, haunting precision. It wasn't pulsing at the erratic frequency Preston had set. It was humming in a perfect, steady blue light. Preston, you spent so much time looking down at your staff that you forgot to look at the physics. Asher's voice echoed through the ear speakers from the gallery above. I didn't just bypass your security. I rewrote the refraction index in real time. I'm not just stopping the bleed. I'm finishing the bypass you weren't capable of completing. The power shift was absolute. The distraction was revealed to be the only person capable of saving the patient's life. Above, Serafina handed the hospital's board of directors a live data feed showing that Preston had ignored 6 separate automated warnings before the rupture. The truth reveal was a medical execution. Preston had triggered his own downfall by violating the safety protocols and physically assaulting the one person who could have prevented the disaster. Asher, wait. You're just a kid. You can't legally. This is my surgery. Preston pleaded, his voice cracking as he looked at the board members through the glass, who were already recording his every word for the malpractice hearing. We just had finished the surgery. Preston, Asher replied, his voice a calm, sharp blade. You told me you were a god in this or... Now, I'm the one who revokes your divinity. Asher signaled to the security team, the very men Preston had ordered to drag Asher out by his heels. Gentlemen, Asher said, looking down from the gallery, Dr. Preston is no longer authorized to be in a sterile environment. Please assist him in gathering his personal belongings. Specifically, the awards he won for surgeries he didn't actually understand. Everything else stays with the hospital. In front of his interns, the young intern Leo, and the entire surgical board, Preston was forced to stand as his digital access badge was deactivated on screen. He was escorted out of the Orchid rule with an iron fist, walking past rows of nurses who had suffered under his arrogance for years. The public shaming was total. By the time he reached the parking lot, the video of his panic and the 7-year-old's intervention was already being analyzed by every medical board in the country. Asher didn't just save the patient. He saved the wing. Under his guidance, the hospital instituted a universal voice protocol where the lowest-ranking student could challenge a chief surgeon if the data supported it. He didn't take a salary. Instead, he directed the foundation to fund a scholarship for gifted children of dark complexion who were often overlooked by the Prestons of the world. The moral resolution saw the hospital's success rate skyrocket. Asher became a symbol of a new era of medicine, one built on data and humility rather than ego and tenure. Dr. Preston, once the king of the surgical world, was relegated to a footnote in medical history. A man who lost his license, his legacy, because he couldn't control his bias against a child who was born with the wisdom he spent a lifetime failing to acquire. Knowledge is a gift that doesn't check your ID or your age before it arrives. When you treat someone with disrespect because they are younger, smaller, or look different than you are closing your eyes to the very solution you've been searching for. Arrogance creates a wall that eventually becomes your own prison. True greatness is the ability to listen to the truth, even when it comes from the voice of a child.